Over the past few years, the Needham High baseball team had struggled to find an identity, but that completely changed this year. The Rockets had a season that won't soon be forgotten after reaching their first ever sectional final. And exactly how did they do that? Well, Drew Sharton and Mike Gilarde stopped by earlier this week to give us the rundown on their sensational season. All right, I'm here now alongside Drew Sharton and Mike Gilarde of the Needham baseball team, two seniors graduating. Good to have you guys here.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so obviously a great season this year, going to a historic Needham baseball season. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but first I want to talk off. We were talking a little bit before we came on for this interview and said you guys obviously had a couple tough seasons before this really historic run this past 2016 season. So take me through, describe your mindset and the emotions going through previous years of losing. You guys said 3 wins, 5 wins. What were the emotions like going through those seasons, kind of even mid-season being out of playoff contention? Like, you want to start?
Yeah, so we both played freshman, then JV, then 2 years of varsity. And I think at like the freshman, sophomore years, we just focused on our teams. You know, we knew we had something special in terms of talent. We knew we had the right pieces going forward. But seeing that varsity team struggle was that wasn't easy. You know what I mean? You don't get the culture that you want to build. You don't get the kind of the mindset you want to see from that varsity team in those early years. And I think, you know, Coach Howard came when we were both juniors, and you know, you just start to see a little bit of a mind shift change. I think that Braintree game, junior year, when we get a big win over the best team in the state, and then moving forward to obviously senior year, when you get that culture change, you start to win a lot of games. So I think we just tried to focus on our teams, but you know, it was definitely difficult seeing varsity teams struggle kind of year after year after year.
Yeah, I mean, just based off what Mike said, kind of the culture of everyone starting from our freshman year, sophomore year, just kind of frustration of no matter how hard we work, because we always worked hard and we thought we were good baseball players, we had good classes, good teams. Just a lot of frustration that like there's obviously like a hump that Needham baseball needs to get over, and that we just weren't able to do that. Something had to change. So obviously that was kind of the first step of that was when Coach Howard implemented his program our junior year, so 2 years ago.
Well, you just mentioned Coach Howard, so let's get to that really quickly. You know, played for Coach Freitas for a while. Obviously, Needham has a track record of having some really high-profile coaches and coaching for a while. And then you transition, like you said, over to Coach Howard. What is it like playing for him and maybe his particular style that separates him from other coaches in the Bay State Conference and throughout the state?
Well, I think he kind of has he's less old-fashioned, more kind of new, he prides himself on kind of small ball, which really helped us a lot in a lot of games this year, because in our conference especially, games are won by 1 or 2 runs. So if we can bunt a guy over and then get a single, that's a run that wouldn't have happened. So I think also he showed us a lot of videos on college baseball teams and some kind of new style pros. So I think that his kind of new style of coaching kind of brought out the best in our team this year for sure.
I think the thing about Coach Howard is his preparation is like unparalleled. He brought on Coach Leroy this year, and I think we probably saw like 2 games of every single Bay State team, got these detailed reports. And you know, he just comes to practice, and you know, we know what we're going to do every day. We know that we got to work hard to earn our spots because nothing is given to us. And you know, it's a very similar practice every day. And you know, we get in a routine of working hard, and kind of he starts to build that culture that, you know, we like to see as players.
Just add on to that, I know when Mikey said about preparation, he comes to practice every day with a detailed scouting report on the next team that we're going to play, and basically every player and every notable player that we're going to be facing. So that really kind of helps us prepare for that next team, and I think that's a huge part of the winning culture, in my opinion.
Well, I think you could see that as, you know, we covered a handful of games this year, and I think you could really see that against teams like Norwood and Newton North. Obviously, it's a very tough conference that you guys are playing in Bay State. We can get to that a little bit later as well. But you could see the adjustments that you would make, whether it was, you know, Drew when you were on the mound sometimes, or Charlie Sumner and stuff like that. Different styles that you guys have, or even as you said earlier, you know, bunting people over. If you're in a really tight game, low-scoring game, you just need that one run across. You see the different styles in the approach that you guys take. So you came out last year, 2015, you had 5 wins. You come out this year, win your first 6 games, already topped that win total. Was there a particular point in the season, maybe during those first 6 games or after, that you looked at and you said, okay, this season is different?
I think we knew it before the season started, to be honest. I think that last year we had, how many seniors? 14? 13?
13 seniors.
13 seniors.
2 of them played.
And I think those guys graduated, and we knew that everyone who we had coming back was going to be contributing. And we had some guys on JV and freshmen that came up and contributed right away. And we had faith in everyone coming back and those guys coming up. So I think we kind of knew in the off season that we were going to have a good team. But I think in the season, I think the Braintree game when we started off 6-0 and then we lost to Weymouth, which kind of a letdown given our start, and then we came back out 2 days later and beat Braintree, who was one of the top teams in the state, and that's when we knew that we could beat anyone. Yeah. So I thought that was, during the season, the point where we were like, okay, we can contend.
On Braintree's field, mind you, as well,
yeah,
and
exactly.
They go on to repeat this year as Super 8 champions, so, I had the resume a little bit there.
Exactly.
Mike, I want to ask you, Drew just said even too, you guys kind of knew in the offseason.
Yeah.
Was there a different approach that you took at all to the offseason or workouts or anything, or was it just kind of this, again, the same thing, but maybe a mindset or even working a little harder?
Yeah, so I think this year, especially, I got an email in December from Drew and Sam, our captains, and it was like, all right, we're starting winter workouts now. You know what I mean? We're going to go every Wednesday to TJO Sports, and it's going to be all-inclusive. It's going to be seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and we had 60, 70 kids show up every Wednesday, 40-something kids, and the year before when I was a junior, it was the 10 seniors that worked out. It was only for 10 seniors. They only invited themselves, and that was it. Kind of put a divide in the team right from the start. And this year I think Drew and Sam did an excellent job in the offseason of, this is our year, this is our time, and we're going to start to build this program from the bottom down. And it really just kind of made us want to go out and work hard day one of tryouts as opposed to day one of the regular season.
You go 11-9 in the regular season, make the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. Your first 2 games, actually, you guys went to extras.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. You pull those out, 1-run games, and then you go on to face Walpole, a team that I believe you hadn't been able to beat in a while, or at least your guys.
None of us on our team had ever beaten Walpole in any sport.
Any sport.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit in that game. Obviously, it's back and forth early. You take the lead. Drew, you're pitching. It's 4-2 in the top of the 6th.
Yeah.
And they get a few runs to make it 5-4. You guys come up. You get those runs back. So the bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Sam Foley gets the game-winning hit. You add another run, and you win that game 7-5.
Yep.
I want to get it from both perspectives because you both played huge roles. Like I just said, Drew, you pitched. Mike, you actually scored one of those runs on Sam's hit. So I want to get the perspective of Drew. Maybe we can start with you because you started that game. You pitched a complete game. You had a lot of ups and downs in that game. What was your mindset and the team's mindset throughout that whole game?
Well, I had the Bridgewater Raynham game was the day before because we had to finish it up. It kind of got postponed in the 9th inning. So I had pitched that day before too. So I was coming in pitching the next day, and my mindset was just to keep the ball down and throw strikes. So I think our mindset throughout the game was to just chip away. They're a very good team. They had a rowdy crowd that day, for sure. I think our mindset was to just chip away at they took a lead, we took a lead. It just kind of went back and forth. And then I thought in that 6th inning when they scored the 3 runs to take the lead, I thought I pitched pretty well that inning. I gave up 1 big hit, but it was a lot of errors, ground.
I was going to say it was tough plays.
It was just tough plays all around, and I think it was a real testament once we came back. We scored 3 runs in the 7th with 2 strikes. That was a crazy inning. It was a real testament to how much we fought and that we never gave up. And then for me at least, I struck out in the 7th inning and was pretty upset that my season was, I thought, basically done. So it kind of took a lot of mental preparation to go back out in the bottom when now we have 3 more outs and we advance. So that was it was so up and down. Just had a lot of mental preparation.
Before I get to you, Mike, I want to ask you, because you just said that, Drew, was there any, I don't know, for lack of a better term, doubt? Was there any doubt or, any thought in your mind that either you didn't know if you were coming out for that 7th, or what was that moment like when Coach came to you and said, "Hey, Drew, you're back out there on the mound"?
You mean after we scored?
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna let him take me out at that point. I mean, the adrenaline was pumping. I I thought I'd been pitching pretty well the whole game. Just a couple of balls hadn't gone our way. So I don't know what he would. He didn't come up to me at all. I think so. I think we both knew that I was going to go back out there, try and get it done.
Mike, you had a key at bat also as well to lead up to Sam Foley. And like I said, I believe on his hit you came around to score that. Probably actually eventually the go-ahead run. I think it was. What was that like? And when you get on base and then you see Sam Foley up at bat and then you score the winning run? Take us through your thoughts. Again, you see the Walpole score the runs and you come up, you score that eventual game-winning run. What is going through your head at the whole time?
Yeah, so I think that whole inning starts before the first pitch is thrown. I think you have Sam and Drew come back to the bench. After a tough inning, we hadn't been losing the playoffs yet, and they really pumped us up. Like I think the underrated part of that all was that everybody on the bench was going crazy, making sure we stayed in that game because it's tough being down in the last inning, our last ups. And my at bat, there was 2 outs. I didn't want to make the last out. I didn't want my at bat to be the one to end the season. I wanted to make sure we kept this thing going. So you got their fan section was starting to jeer and starting to say stuff. And I took it personally. I made sure you give me that fastball. And lucky, I didn't get that fastball. I got 4 balls and I took my base. But when I was on second base and I knew with 2 outs, and I knew Sam's the guy we want up there. Sam's been hitting well all season. Sam's the guy that he's going to come through. And he did, and I just ran. I just didn't stop running. So, it was great. And if anybody deserves it, Sam's preparation for that moment didn't start with that bat. It starts all season, and I think he definitely deserves that big at bat.
So you win that game. You move on to play Silver Lake, the top seed. Again, another really great team, top seed in the bracket. They one of those bubble teams for the Super 8. You guys had to know what you were getting into. You know what I mean? Again, not to take anything away from you, but you're going up against the top seed, Anthony Vedetto, and the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state. What was your mindset going into that game? And I know obviously you were a little disappointed. Obviously we see when you guys you get the trophy, and I think there was just a mutual kind of feeling on the team of all right, yeah, we had never been here, and this is a huge step for this program, but it really would have been nice to win it. So there's going to be that disappointment there, obviously. But what were your thoughts, heading into that game, and then afterward, just take me through that whole experience?
Well, I think we, as a team, no one was going to say it, but we were drained going into that game. I know for me at least, I could barely throw after those last few games. But I think we knew what we had to do to win. I mean, we had played teams just as good or better than Silver Lake. We played Braintree twice, New North twice. So I think Silver Lake wasn't any team that we didn't think we could beat, but I think we just went into it trying to do the same thing we did the whole season, just kind of grind away at them. And they threw a kid who was pretty good. Yeah. And we didn't get it was one of those games we would have had to play. We had to play perfectly to get the W, and we didn't. And they outplayed us. So it wasn't one of those games where there was afterwards there were regrets if I had done this during the game we would have won. Yep. They just outplayed us. But afterwards it was kind of, as you said, a little bit bittersweet because obviously there was disappointment, but at the same time, first trophy bring back to the high school, I think, ever. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, that brings me to my next question, is that has it sunk in yet that you guys, the first ever Needham baseball team to go that far and reach a sectional final, as you said, it's bittersweet. You didn't get the result that you wanted in that game, but historic accomplishments nonetheless for this program. What you guys were able to do, again, break that playoff drought, reach levels that no Needham baseball team has ever been to before.
Right.
Yeah. Has all that sunk in for you guys yet, or you think when do you think it would?
Yeah, I think it's starting to sink in a little bit. It's starting to be where people start to see us wearing Needham baseball stuff. You play on that high school team. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. At work all the time, I have people come in and say, man, you guys are awesome. And, I think just the fact that we're starting to shift the culture, it's really just that was one of our goals. One of the big goals of the team was, we want to be good for a long time, and the best way we can do that is to make kids and parents excited to play baseball. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just agree with Mikey that our goal was to kind of create buzz about the program. We never thought, we were very confident that we were going to make the playoffs, but we never thought that exceeded our expectations, that playoff run. So I think our goal was to kind of start a culture change, get people okay, the baseball team is going to be good this year. So I think we definitely completed our goal. And I think we're all proud of how we ended up. Obviously, a little disappointment at the end, but we couldn't have asked for a better way to end our high school careers for sure.
Yeah. So final 2 questions, because I think you definitely made that culture shift. You've put a huge starting point in it at least. How do you see this? You guys have played for Coach Howard. You know what he's like. You got a brother on the team, Drew, and you know a lot of these guys as well. What do you see for them in the future? Maybe particularly next year. Could they repeat, or how do you think their chances are?
Sure. I think Chuck Sumner, you got an ace for 3 years. You got 7, 8, 9 guys coming back. You still have a lot of those core pieces that are still there and in motion. You got a lot of guys coming up on the JV team that be able to impact, and I think they're going to be very good for a long time now.
Yeah, I mean, we have definitely a bunch of lose some guys, but a bunch of big hitters coming back. And I think last year for sure, our three sophomores made a huge. Might have been the biggest change on our team. Right. Catcher, pitcher, second baseman. So those 3 guys really, I think he's going to move over to shortstop. But them 3 up the middle really made a huge difference in our team and the way we played. So them coming back, plus a couple seniors you could really hit with the bat. So I think they'll be in pretty good shape. And there's some other guys who we'd one freshman on our team who definitely got a lot of good experience in the playoffs that most other freshmen would never have ever gotten. So I think that those guys know what they have to do to win too.
You got a lot of versatility on that team.
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
A lot of, like you said, a lot of different parts that can help you guys out in different situations. Right. All right, so we talked about the team, got that away. Last question before I let you guys go, I want to ask you, what are your guys' future plans? We talked, obviously, you each going to UVM and going to Tulane. Is there any more baseball in your guys' future? Or I asked Simon, there was, because he was close with Coach Paul, if there was a coaching future for him. Do you guys see any baseball, any coaching future? Not to put any pressure on you, but is there any baseball future ahead for you guys at all?
Sorry.
Here you go.
Yeah. So I want to try to play baseball at UVM. They have a pretty good club team there. They got rid of their D1 team. But I want to just be, like my dad, he played baseball till he was like 45. I just want to keep playing. I really love the game. I think just being a part of that and just kind of keep playing in the Hockey League, the Park League, until I can't walk anymore. So.
Yeah, I think for me, I explored playing Division III before I decided to go to Tulane, and that was out of the question once I decided to go there. But I might play club a little bit. My arm's still kind of nursing the season a little bit.
Rest it up a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Love the sport, but I think if I do, it'll be great. If not, it'd be a great way to end my baseball playing career the way the high school season ended. So.
Well, you went out. I was gonna say the way you guys went out.
Yeah, exactly.
It was definitely out with a bang. So,
awesome.
Drew Sharton and Mike Gilarde, we appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
And we wish you the best of luck going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.